What is going on, Raptors Nation? Luca here, back with another video, back with a post-game video. As the Toronto Raptors, I know it's the preseason, but they are a perfect 3-0. The Raptors defeat the Chicago Bulls 106-102 in what was a very highly entertaining game. I got a lot of takeaways in this one. Before we dive right into it, do me a solid, hit a like on the video. It helps a ton. And also, please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors post-game and Raptors content in general, just like this. Okay, where do I even start? This was a game that I'm not going to lie. I know it's a preseason game, but it actually got me up on my feet. I wanted to see the Raptors close out and get the W, and that they did, as this was a back and forth affair in that fourth quarter. Of course, the starters had come out, and it was a battle of the benches. But let's first talk about the Raptors starters, who did log heavy minutes tonight. Rajakovic letting his starters go. Let's start with the player of the game, Scottie Barnes. In 28 minutes, Barnes had 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 assists, 2 steals. He shot an 8 of 14 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and was a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Scottie Barnes looks like he's ready to erupt. That third-year leap looks like it's coming. And Scottie Barnes looks the part. I mean, he was great in this game. It's nice to see that 3-ball dropping from Barnes. It was nice seeing Barnes getting that field goal percentage above 50%, which were 2 goals that I had for Barnes going into the season. Can he increase that 3-point shooting percentage? Can he increase his overall shooting percentage? And you saw Barnes in this one. He was able to finish around the rim, able to hit those 3-pointers, and he also brought it on the defensive end. I mean, this was a preseason game, but Barnes got after it. I mean, he put his body on the line towards the end of the second quarter, which led to a nice Raptors sequence on the other end. But you look at Scottie Barnes, he has shown glimpses of what he's capable of doing this season. The increased offensive role, the increased ball handling duties. We saw a couple of possessions in this game, Barnes running the floor, finding his teammates, finding a Pascal Siakam. Barnes looks comfortable. He looks confident. And all that work that he said that he put in the offseason looks to be coming to fruition. Scottie Barnes looked very good around the basket. It's nice to see him hitting his shots at a high level. And that 3-ball, which was something that we all wanted to see Barnes improve with, has been something that Barnes has looked a lot comfortable with. I mean, just his shooting mechanics look a lot better. So when you look at Barnes, what he's able to do, putting it all together, I mean, this is what he's capable of doing. He's able to fill up the box score. He's able to crash the glass, get rebounds. He's able to block shots and be a menace on defense. People forget about how good he can be on defense. He's able to get to the rim. He's able to score around the basket. He's able to hit his shots, hit his threes. And if he can put forth this type of effort consistently, man, oh man, is he in for a big season. So I have loved what I've seen from Scottie Barnes over these first 3 preseason games. This was his best game of the preseason, and he would have done even more if Darko hadn't pulled he and the rest of the starters with about 5 and change to go in this one. So Barnes, player of the game, and then right behind him, Pascal Siakam, 22 points. He had 3 steals, 5 rebounds. You look at Siakam, he was 8 of 11 from the field, very, very efficient, 2 of 5 from 3, 4 of 6 from the line. It was nice to see Siakam get to the line, and it was nice to see Siakam be aggressive and put his head down and get to the basket. We want to see more of that Pascal Siakam. And it was great to see he and Barnes play as well as they did together. Because I've said it so many times this past offseason. If Scottie Barnes and Pascal Siakam show that they can coexist and they play at a high level together and neither hinders the other's production, the Raptors are going to exceed all expectations. And you just hope this is a sign of things to come, of these guys being a 1-2 punch, because they have shown that they can complement each other so well. Scottie Barnes looking to find Siakam, vice versa. Both of these guys have looked to get their offense going, and a very underrated component of both of these guys' games is the fact that they're able to play make. They're going to draw so much attention this season that they're going to be in a position where they can either attack or set up their teammates. And we saw that particularly with Barnes in the open court, but Siakam as well. I know he didn't register an assist, but Siakam's going to get attention on him. And then he's going to be able, to find open teammates for them to hit shots. So these are going to be two players in Siakam and Barnes that are going to dictate the Raptors' success a ton this season. And it was really nice to see both of them come together nicely. You look at the 4 turnovers from Siakam. You want that number to be low. Scottie Barnes had 2 turnovers as well, but it's the preseason. Guys are getting familiar with this new offense still. And again, it was nice seeing both of them go to work. And you look at what they did in that fourth quarter alone. I mean, it was spectacular. The Chicago Bulls were going on a run. It looked like the Bulls were maybe going to run away with this thing. Then Siakam and Barnes come in, and they literally scored all of the Raptors' points in that fourth quarter until they were pulled out. So they single-handedly responded to the Bulls. I think it was like a 9-0 run with their own run, causing the Bulls to call a timeout and to reset. So that is the star power that these guys possess. And when they're in sync the way that they were, it's going to be a beautiful thing for the Raptors this season. So Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam leading the way to a W. I can get used to this. It was very, very nice to see both of those guys play very well alongside each other. Chris Boucher, he got the start for Jakob Poeltl, who remains out with an illness. And the thing is, the Raptors, they were without their bigs in this one. And early on, you felt it because you saw the Raptors, they were getting dominated inside early, and you could tell that a guy like Jakob Poeltl, who is a good rim protector, was missing. But overall, the Raptors, total rebounds matching the Bulls' output, but points in the paint, Chicago was plus 10. But all in all, I mean, the Raptors, they look good, even though they missed their bigs. And Chris Boucher, he did struggle, 1 of 5, 0 of 2 from 3, but Poeltl's expected to be back. It's not going to be a serious thing. I mean, I would think so. He's just dealing with an illness. So I would fully expect to see Jakob Poeltl be ready for the start of the season. You look at OG Anunoby, he was 2 of 5 from the field. He had 7 points. And then Dennis Schroeder, he had 12 points. He was 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. What I will say is this about Schroeder. We know he's not a good 3-point shooter, and we know he's going to have nights like this where he struggles from the field. But what I do like about Schroeder is he plays with so much energy, and he always looks to be attacking the rim. You're rarely going to find Dennis Schroeder take bad shots. When he is going to shoot, he's going to have a good look, and I can live with that. If Dennis Schroeder is going to miss good looks, I'm taking that all day versus Dennis Schroeder trying to force stuff, because you look at Schroeder, he has really deferred, it seems, to guys like Siakam and Scottie Barnes and letting them kind of control and run the offense, particularly Scottie Barnes when they're playing together, which I am a big fan, because Dennis Schroeder, he doesn't look like a guy who's going to selfishly take away those opportunities. He knows that Scottie Barnes is going to have a big role when it comes to the ball handling duties, and he lets Scottie do his thing. And Schroeder, he looks for his teammates. This is a guy who's going to try to set them up first before looking for his own offense. And then, like I said, when he does look for his offense, he attacks and he's aggressive. And that's what you want to see from your point guard. And that's a breath of fresh air, as the Raptors have more of a traditional point guard in the sense where he's just looking for his teammates before his own offense, and he's not forcing things. Obviously, with Fred, a lot of the offense ran through him. Big difference this season, as the offense is not going to be running through Dennis Schroeder as it is going to be running through Barnes and Siakam. So it's nice to see Schroeder kind of adapt into this role. And let's talk about the bench unit. The Raptors bench outscored the Bulls bench 40-21. Overall, the bench was solid, and it was thanks to Gary Tren Jr. He had 11 points on 4 of 10 shooting. He was 3 of 6 from 3. He really did a good job in this game when the Raptors offense was very much struggling in that first quarter. They were ice cold from the field in 3. Gary Tren Jr. came in and inject instant scoring. He had like 8 points for the Raptors. So that's going to be Gary Trent Jr.'s responsibility and his role. And I think he can be a very pivotal part of this team because the Raptors are going to have nights where their starters don't shoot the ball well and they get off to these bad starts when it comes to shooting the basketball. Well, a guy like Gary Trent Jr. can come into the game and flip it upside down. He can come in, hit shots as he did in this one early on, hit the three ball, and get the offensive rhythm going. And Gary Trent Jr., a big talking point has been about how he wanted to start, but he basically said that he sees the writing on the wall. He has been coming off the bench in these first 3 preseason games, and he is going to be this team's sixth man. He is going to be the guy leading the second unit. But Gary Trent Jr. is the ultimate professional. I like what he said. He's going to do what it takes to help this team win, and that's all you can ask for, Gary Trent Jr. And look, Gary Trent Jr. is still going to play a lot of minutes. He had 20 minutes tonight. He's still 25 minutes, pardon me. He's still going to get ample opportunities, and he can be a big, big, big contributor to this Raptors team, even though he's not a starter. Because if Gary Trent Jr. locks into that six-man role, not only do I think he'll have a chance to be a potential six-man of the year, but he is going to be a lethal weapon for the Raptors from off the bench, and he's really going to do a great job leading that second unit. And I think Gary Trent Jr. can take the reins and be the guy that does, in fact, lead the second unit and get everybody else involved and kind of not only pick up the starters when they need picking up, but the guys around him with the bench. And you look at Trent Jr., he led all scorers from off the bench with 11. Grady Dick, I want to give him a ton of credit as well. 7 points. Again, a little bit of a tough night for him when it comes to his shooting. He was 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. But he did have 2 rebounds. And you look at Grady Dick, what doesn't pop up on the box score are the other things he does well. Once that shot starts to fall consistently, because you know eventually that shot's going to start to fall. And when that happens, Dick is going to be a solid contributor for this Raptors team. And it was nice to see Grady Dick get 17 minutes as he tries to solidify himself in this rotation. You look at Grady Dick, he can rebound the basketball. He can make smart decisions out there. He can put the ball on the deck. And if he can just get that jumper to fall, I think Grady Dick is going to be another lethal weapon for the Raptors. And originally I did pencil him in that 10-man rotation. And I think, Grady Dick is going to get opportunities to prove himself. So it was nice to see Dick, all things considered, poor shooting night, still have a nice touch on this game. And then you look at Malachi Flynn. I want to talk about him. So he had 20 minutes and he very much struggled. He had 2 points, but he did make 2 big free throws late to seal this one, or to give the Raptors a 3-point lead. And in terms of his shooting, he was ice cold. He was 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. And here's the thing about Malachi Flynn. So he's been getting a ton of minutes this preseason. And it looks like Rajakovic is very high on him, and he does view Malachi Flynn as the backup point guard and one of the guys who's going to be a regular in the rotation. And it is nice to see Flynn get consistent minutes because obviously under Nick Nurse, you saw Malachi Flynn and then you wouldn't see him again. And he would just come in bursts here and there. You would never get a sense of consistency when it came to Malachi Flynn minutes. And with Darko, he seems committed to at least giving Flynn one last real shot. So I get that Darko sees a lot of good things from Flynn, but in a game like tonight, he definitely struggled because not only was he a liability on offense, not being able to score, but he struggled on defense. And, he did have a turnover and he just looked uncomfortable in certain spots. He did have 2 steals in this one, but it begs the question, would the Raptors at least be willing to see a Jeff Dowden Jr. to give him a real opportunity to try to outbid Flynn for minutes? But again, tonight, and I did a separate video on him, go check it out if you want, we didn't see Jeff Dowden Jr. He did not play, coach's decision. And we actually didn't see a lot of guys. Obviously, Achua was out, Temple out, Koloko out, but we didn't see Ron Harper Jr. and Pirtle was out. We didn't see Ron Harper Jr., we didn't see Maker, we didn't see Jeff Dowden Jr., and we didn't see Noel. So you saw Rajakovic shorten his rotation in this third preseason game. And he looks fully committed to Flynn, especially since we didn't see a Jeff Tren Jr. or even a Marquise Noel. So you look at Flynn, I mean, you just hope that he can put it all together and he can really embrace being this backup point guard and being the guy who's got to calm things down when things need calming down with that second unit. And then you just hope his offense can get rolling, because if Flynn cannot score and hit those shots, hit those threes, it's going to be tough sledding for him. And he's got to be better defensively. And remember, it was his defense that, was a big reason why Nurse didn't want to trust him consistently down the stretch in the last couple of seasons. So this could be Flynn's last chance, and it looks like Darko's going to give him a fair shot, but Flynn really needs to make the most out of this opportunity ahead of him. McDaniels, he's another guy that figures to be a consistent staple of the rotation. He did struggle shooting the basketball. Was 2 of 7, 0 of 4 from 3 in 25 minutes. And Thad Young, he had 6 points in 11 minutes. He did have 3 turnovers, and he was 4 of 4 from the free throw line. And then we saw Freeman Liberty, who did actually play solidly in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. A couple of good decisions on his part. As you look at Freeman Liberty, found his teammates. He had 2 assists, 3 rebounds, and he had 3 points. And then, and then we saw Gay in very limited time, 6 minutes. He had 5 points. And that basically concluded the second unit for tonight's rotation. But we'll see what happens moving forward. Obviously, Pirtle's going to be back in the mix. So then that means Boucher's going to come off the bench. Precious is going to come off the bench. He obviously hasn't played yet, but he's nearing a return. So those are 2 guys who are going to be staples. And then, you're going to have Otto Porter Jr. probably in the mix. He's still gearing up from his toe surgery. We haven't seen him yet. And then you're going to have, Grady Dick and Malachi Flynn. So that's why these minutes for guys like Dick and Flynn are going to be huge as they try to solidify themselves in this rotation. But Darko said that he's going to go with 10 men. So is it going to be the same 10 men? Is he going to switch it up? That remains to be seen. But the minutes that we saw essentially when this game was just the battle of the benches, it's going to go a long way in some of the decisions that Darko makes over the course of this season when it comes to guys he trusts in that rotation. So, that's basically it. When you look at this game, overall, the starters were solid. The main starters, in the time that we saw them, again, they were given a lot of leeway here in this third preseason game. You just hope, an OG Anunoby can shoot the ball better and get that 3 to drop, and he doesn't get lost in the mix, because I do think OG can take a step offensively. But you look at the Raptors, they held their own on the glass despite missing their bigs. They did have a lot of careless turnovers, uncharacteristic at times, 19. You want to see that number come down, and then they were outscored in the paint. But the Raptors were able to overcome a 29% shooting night from 3. Their field goal percentage, they started off rough. We're still able to shoot at 43%. You want to definitely see that higher. And then that 3-point percentage definitely needs to be better. The Raptors' free throws. The Raptors got to the line 38 times, making 29 of them. So you definitely hope the Raptors get to the charity stripe this many times, because anytime you get to the free throw line, it's always a good thing. And the Raptors got to make their free throws. I mean, leaving 9 points off the board is huge, especially in a close game like this. It didn't come back to bite them, but Raptors did a good job of getting to the free throw line, but you just got to make your free throws more consistently. So overall, that is going to basically wrap up this reaction. The Raptors victorious once again. A lot of highlights, a lot of things that you like to see. Their defense was good in spurts, as well as Chicago didn't have a good shooting night either. They shot at 34% from 3 and 44% from the field. And the Raptors did create 22 Chicago turnovers. So the Raptors actually buckled down when they needed to. And again, the starters looked very solid when they were in this game. And if the starters remained in this game late in the fourth, the Raptors, I believe, would have ran away with this thing. It got close, obviously, when the starters came out. Bulls made a run, but still, Raptors were able to hang on and get the W. We just want to see the Raptors play well and just develop winning habits. Like Jack Armstrong said on the broadcast, you want to see the Raptors develop winning habits because this is going to carry over to the regular season. I cannot emphasize the importance of winning in the preseason. And I know I just said a minute ago that it doesn't matter, but actually does, because you want to carry over positive vibes, positive momentum. And if the Raptors are able to sweep this preseason schedule and go into the regular season feeling good about themselves, that's going to be a good indication for them. And that's going to be a good thing for them to hang their hat on as they try to open up the season on a strong note, because it is going to be a tough start to their season. So the Raptors definitely want to be laser focused on both sides. So Raptors got to feel good about this win on the road, getting it done. They got one more preseason game against the Wizards at home Friday. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the real thing finally begins. I cannot wait for the regular season. But overall, the Raptors have looked good. This team looks different. And there's a lot to be excited of going into the season. And Darko Rajakovic, he has yet to lose a game. Just throwing that out there. So we'll see if that magic of Darko continues in the regular season. But that is it for me. What were your main takeaways from this one, Raptors Nation? Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. That is it for me. This is Luca signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe.